What if I can't meet the deadline? What if I don't pass my exam? Did I say the wrong thing? What if I get fired and can't pay the bills? Each question sends a new wave of anxiety through you. But what if you could calm this storm of worries and reclaim your peace of mind? Let's talk about some effective strategies derived from the ancient philosophy of Stoicism to quiet your restless mind and focus on the present. It's time you reclaimed the tranquility of your nights and the productivity of your days. Take a deep breath and let's get right into it. Live in day-tight compartments. Think of it this way. Each morning, you open the door to a new room, today's room. Everything you need to deal with is in this room. Yesterday's room is locked. You don't need to go back there. And tomorrow's? It's not open yet. This is about focusing on what's in front of you, not on shadows from the past or the clouds that might or might not be looming on the horizon. Now, let's put this into a familiar scenario. You're overwhelmed. Imagine you're facing a huge workload and you start worrying about how you'll manage tasks over the coming weeks. The stress builds, not just from the work itself, but from the fear of potential failure. Here's where you need to narrow your focus. Ask yourself, what needs to be done today? What's the most important task of the day? And what's going to take the most time and effort? Once you have your tasks sorted out, that's your focus for the day. Don't think of what's coming tomorrow or what's been done yesterday. By breaking down your tasks into daily chunks, you only tackle what can be accomplished in one day. This doesn't just simplify your work, it also limits your stress to one day at a time. This tactic aligns perfectly with the Stoic teaching of focusing on the present. Stoics believe that anxiety often comes from trying to control the uncontrollable, usually things in the future or unresolved issues from the past. By centering on what's in front of you, you channel your energy more efficiently. For example, if you have an important presentation next month, rather than spending today fretting about it, you'd focus on preparing a single part of it. Maybe today, you just work on the introduction. Tomorrow, tackle the next section, and so on. Moreover, this helps in other areas of life too. Consider personal conflicts or family responsibilities. Rather than stewing over a week's worth of chores or dwelling on an argument from yesterday, decide what you can realistically handle today. Maybe it's doing the grocery shopping or having a calm discussion about yesterday's disagreement. This mindset shifts how you view your daily tasks and challenges. It simplifies them, breaking down an often overwhelming list into manageable daily bites. It doesn't just reduce worry, it also increases the efficiency and effectiveness in your daily life. This also means you're more present for the people around you, more attuned to the actual demands of your day, and better at recognizing what truly requires your attention. You're not bogged down by what was or what will be. You're active, engaged, and present, right here, right now. So, close the door on yesterday and don't borrow trouble from tomorrow. Today has enough to focus on, and you are fully equipped to handle it. Practice this immediately and watch how your days start to change. Practice mindfulness. Now, before you start thinking, not another lecture on mindfulness. It's everywhere these days. Podcasts, blogs, even at the workplace. It can feel a bit like a buzzword that's lost its actual meaning. But here's the thing, despite all the noise, the core practice of mindfulness remains one of the most effective tools to cut through the clutter of daily worries. Let's face it, our minds are often tangled up in a mess of tomorrow's to-dos and yesterday's could-haves. This constant mental traffic can be exhausting. Mindfulness, stripped down to its essence, is about pausing that noise. It's about really being where you are, fully present and engaged. It's not just about sitting quietly for 5 minutes with your eyes closed. It's about truly experiencing your life as it unfolds, moment by moment. Consider this. When was the last time you ate a meal and just focused on eating, on the flavors and textures, without your phone or TV on? Or when did you last sit with a friend and listen, really listen, without planning your next sentence or checking your messages? This is mindfulness in action. It's simple, yes, but not always easy. Here's why it matters. When you practice being fully present, you're training yourself to place your attention where you choose, not where your runaway worries want to drag it. This shift doesn't just help during meditation, it spills over into everyday life. You start to recognize the signs of stress and worry earlier, which means you can address them before they spiral. A simple and effective mindfulness exercise is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique, which is great for grounding yourself and bringing your attention back to the present moment. Here's how you do it. Feel free to follow along. Look around you and notice 5 things that you hadn't noticed before. Perhaps a pattern on a wall, the way light reflects off a surface, or even something as mundane as the color of a nearby object. Now, pay attention to the sensation of touch. Feel 4 things that are within your reach. It could be the texture of your clothing, the smooth surface of a table, the grass under your feet, or the feel of a breeze against your skin. Then, close your eyes and listen carefully. Identify 3 sounds. It might be the hum of a refrigerator, birds chirping outside, or distant traffic. This is followed by trying to notice 2 things that you can smell. If you're indoors, this might be the scent of your coffee, a candle, or your hand soap. If you can't immediately smell anything, try to remember your favorite scents. Lastly, focus on 1 thing you can taste. It might be a lingering flavor from a meal, your toothpaste, or just the taste of your mouth. This exercise helps you focus on your current environment and requires you to be present in the moment, engaging all your senses. It's particularly useful when you find yourself overwhelmed by stress or worry, as it brings your focus back to the simple things that are grounding and calming. So, even though it might seem like just another trend, giving mindfulness a real chance, beyond the hype, can transform the way you handle stress and engage with the world. It offers a way to clear the mental stage of everything that isn't serving you right now, allowing you to deal more effectively with what's in front of you. And in a world where your attention is constantly pulled in a dozen directions, that's not just helpful, it's essential. If these strategies are resonating with you thus far, let us know in the comments below and give this video a like. The best is yet to come, so let's get back into it. Law of averages. How often do you find yourself worrying about something that, in all honesty, rarely happens? Many of us spend a lot of time fretting over scenarios that are more fiction than fact. Using the law of averages to evaluate your worries means asking, how likely is this to actually happen? Let's say you're worried about being late to an important meeting because you missed your alarm one day. Instead of stewing in anxiety, look at the facts. How many times have you actually been late? If it rarely happens, remind yourself that it's not a frequent occurrence and that worrying excessively isn't productive. This is about grounding your fears in reality. Many people have a fear of flying. But statistically, flying is much safer than driving. Yet many people are more anxious about stepping onto a plane than getting into a car. By referring to statistics whenever possible, you can reassure yourself that your fear, while understandable, might not be supported by the facts. Applying this rational approach doesn't just minimize stress, it also frees up your mental space for more constructive thoughts and actions. When you stop allowing unlikely fears to dominate your mind, you open up more room for positivity. This could mean preparing better for that meeting, leaving a bit earlier to ease your worries about traffic, or focusing on enjoying your flight by watching a movie or reading a book. This isn't about ignoring potential problems, but rather assessing them realistically. If a concern has a legitimate chance of occurring, then by all means, prepare for it. But if the probability is low, decide to let go of the worry. Every minute you spend worrying about highly unlikely events is a minute you're not spending on activities that enhance your life. You could be spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies, or simply relaxing. Your time is better spent on what adds value to your life. The law of averages teaches us to focus our concern on what's probable, not just on what's possible. By doing so, we not only maintain our peace of mind, but also engage more deeply with the truly important aspects of our lives. Face your troubles head on. Just because we try to escape our troubles doesn't mean they automatically disappear. In fact, avoidance might just make it worse. Facing your troubles can feel daunting, but here's a different way to think about it. Every problem has a solution. Every worry is just a tricky puzzle to solve. But first, take a step back and take a view from above. Stare down the issue, laying out all the pieces and understanding exactly what you're dealing with. Let's break it down with a real-life example. Suppose you're worried about a possible layoff. The first step is to ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Think about it, not to scare yourself, but to truly assess the situation. Maybe the worst is that you'd have to look for a new job, or you might have to make some financial sacrifices in the meantime while you job hunt. Once you've named your biggest fear, it suddenly becomes a problem you can start to tackle, rather than a shadowy dread looming over you. Next, prepare to accept this worst case if you absolutely have to. This isn't giving up. Instead, remind yourself that, if it happens, you can handle it. You know your challenge and you're ready to face it head on, but you're not stopping there. Now you start looking for ways to better the situation. Could you update your resume, reach out to network contacts, look into skill development courses, or perhaps it's time to proactively start to cut down expenses? These steps pull you out of worry and into action. This strategy works because it shifts your focus from fearing the outcome to controlling your response. It's about reclaiming power over the situation. You're not just passive, hoping for the best. You're actively working to make the best outcome possible. This proactive stance is vital. It keeps your mind engaged and your actions purposeful, reducing the room for anxiety. Think about this the next time you're faced with a financial worry, a health scare, or any personal dilemma. Break it down. Identify the worry. Realistically assess the worst outcome. Prepare yourself to accept it if you must, and then pivot to improving the situation. Don't let fear dictate your actions. Instead, take ownership of your problems and let your preparedness and proactive measures guide you. Keep the mind occupied. Have you ever noticed how, when you're deeply engrossed in an activity you really enjoy, time seems to fly by and worries melt away? That's the power of keeping your mind busy. It's not just about distracting yourself. It's about engaging deeply in tasks that require your full attention and thus leave little room for anxiety. Think about an activity you really enjoy. It could be painting, writing, or playing a musical instrument. As you immerse yourself in the creative process, selecting colors for a canvas, brainstorming ideas for a story, or mastering a new piece on the guitar, your worries about work or family issues begin to fade into the background. Each choice, whether it's the right word for a sentence, the perfect shade for a sunset, or the precise timing in a melody, demands your immediate attention and pulls you further away from the cycle of worry. When you're fully focused on whatever it is you are doing, all your worries seem to drift away in that brief period. But don't mistake this with filling every minute of your day with trivial tasks to avoid dealing with your problems. Being productively busy has another benefit. It produces visible outcomes. Whether it's a completed report, a freshly baked loaf of bread, or a new piece of art, seeing the results of your efforts provides a tangible boost to your self-esteem and a reminder of your capabilities. The key here is to choose tasks that align with your values and passions. These aren't just random tasks, they're investments in yourself which build resistance against stress. Each action you take contributes to a larger picture of who you are and what you can accomplish. It reinforces a positive self-image and diminishes the power of worry. This shift from passive worrying to active engagement can significantly alter your mood and outlook, turning a day filled with anxiety into one of productivity and purpose. Remember, an occupied mind is not only a less anxious mind but also a more fulfilled one. Disregard petty things. It's easy to get caught up in the little annoyances, the slow traffic, the spilled cup of coffee, the rainy weather ruining your weekend plans. But how much do these trifles really affect your life in the long run? Learning not to fuss about the small stuff can significantly reduce your daily stress and leave you with more energy for the things that truly matter. Think about it this way. If you're spending your morning fuming over the long line at the coffee shop, you're using up energy that could be spent more productively elsewhere. By the time you get to work, you're already frustrated and irritated, which isn't the best way to start a productive day. Here's a practical tip. Next time you find yourself getting worked up over something minor, ask yourself, will this matter a week from now, a year from now? Most of the time, the answer will be no. This simple question can help put things into perspective and allow you to redirect your energy toward more significant issues or activities that bring you joy and satisfaction. Let's put this into a scenario. You come home to find that your kids have left a mess in the kitchen. You could get upset, raise your voice, and let it spoil your evening. Or you could take a deep breath, remind yourself that a messy kitchen isn't a major crisis, and calmly ask your kids to clean up. This not only keeps the peace, but also teaches your children about responsibility and dealing with mistakes. This doesn't mean you ignore every small problem. Rather, it's about choosing your battles wisely. Some issues may require attention, but always reacting as if every little hiccup is a catastrophe can be exhausting and unhelpful. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom is particularly relevant here. By choosing not to sweat the small stuff, you're not just avoiding unnecessary stress, you're also developing a more focused mind. Remember, every moment spent worrying about minor nuisances is a moment lost to more rewarding experiences. Choose to focus on what truly enriches your life and watch how much more peaceful and productive your days become. Cooperate with the inevitable. Sometimes life throws situations at us that we simply can't change, no matter how much we might want to. It's like being stuck in traffic when you're already late. No amount of worrying or frustration will clear the road ahead faster. In these moments, accepting what we can't control can be the key to maintaining our composure and focus. Consider this. You've planned a big outdoor party for weeks, but on the big day, it starts to rain. You could spend the day upset and lamenting your bad luck, or you could shift your plans, perhaps moving the party indoors or setting up tents. The weather isn't something you can influence, but how you adapt to the situation is entirely within your control. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that distress comes not from the events themselves, but from our interpretation of them. When we accept the inevitable, we are not being passive, we're actively choosing where to put our energies. Fighting a battle you can't win is exhausting and can lead to feelings of helplessness and frustration. On the other hand, Channeling your efforts into actions you can take empowers you and can lead to more creative solutions. For example, if a loved one is dealing with a serious illness, it's natural to feel a mix of emotions, from sadness to anger. While you can't change the diagnosis, you can choose to be a source of comfort and support. This might mean helping them with daily tasks, spending quality time with them, or encouraging them to talk about their feelings. Here, cooperating with the inevitable means accepting the reality of the illness, while also taking constructive steps to make the situation as positive as possible. When something goes wrong at work, maybe a project doesn't go as planned, instead of fixating on the setback, look for ways to learn from the experience. Could this challenge be an opportunity to improve your skills or to come up with a new, perhaps even better approach? By accepting what we cannot change, we not only preserve our mental health, but also become more resilient. We learn to distinguish between futile efforts and fruitful endeavors. So, next time you're faced with a situation that's out of your hands, take a deep breath, accept it, and then look around. What can you influence? What can you improve? Often, you'll find that there's much more within your power than you thought. Decide just how much anxiety a problem may be worth and never give it more. Have you ever thought about how much worry is really worth? Not all problems are created equal, and they shouldn't all get the same lease on your energy and time. Think about it this way. If you have $100 of emotional currency each day, would you spend $90 on a minor disagreement? Probably not. It's all about budgeting your emotional investment and deciding just how much anxiety a particular concern deserves. Let's apply this to a common situation. Your car breaks down. It's frustrating, yes, but how much of your day's worry should this consume? Maybe you decide it's worth 10% of your daily worry budget. You spend that budget figuring out a solution, calling a tow truck, arranging a rental, scheduling a repair. Once you've spent your 10%, you consciously choose to shift your focus to other tasks or activities that deserve your attention. This helps keep the problem in perspective and prevents it from overshadowing other important or enjoyable parts of your day. This is especially helpful for managing the stresses that come with work or relationships. At work, when a project faces delays, instead of spiraling into worry, ask yourself, what can I realistically do about this right now? Allocate a portion of your worry budget to develop a plan of action and then move on to other tasks that demand your attention. This ensures that your day isn't consumed working on a single task while work continues to pile up. What we're talking about here isn't ignoring the problems, but rather managing your emotional resources wisely. It will require practice, just like budgeting your finances. You wouldn't spend money without considering your budget constraints, so treat your emotional energy the same way. Remember, not every problem needs a 5-alarm response. As we navigate the ups and downs of daily life, know that you're not alone in feeling overwhelmed at times. Everybody experiences worries, but it's how you manage them that makes the difference. You now have practical tools at your fingertips to help manage those feelings, whether it's grounding yourself in the present with a mindfulness exercise, re-evaluating the true weight of your worries, or learning to accept what you cannot change. Each approach offers a way to reclaim your peace of mind. So, whenever you feel the tide of worry rising, feel free to revisit these techniques. They're here to support you. If this video helped you, calmed you down, let us know in the comments below and give it a like. Until next time, don't worry and stay calm, my fellow Stoics.